You awaken in a small room. Looking around, you notice that all your gear is gone, as is your memory of recent events. Adding to your disquiet, you notice that your sword arm has been somehow imprinted with strange patterns. The rest of your party are identically marked. Welcome to part 1 of Curse of the Azure Bonds. We start off well. Welcome to the fair city of Tilverton, beams the innkeeper. Then she notices your collective scowls. Please calm down while I explain. You were brought in by a group in red robes. They said they'd found you on the road near death. They paid for your rooms in advance, so you can stay as long as you'd like. You had those tattoos when you came in, but I've never seen anything like them. Filani the sage could help you though. You should go see her. 2 blocks north. Perhaps the sage will help. You can get weapons from the shop across the way. So, we wake up without equipment and bonded. Oh, nice. On the bed of this room is a disheveled man tossing in the throes of some great nightmare. He screams. Flaming giant, blood-red mage, glinting knife, plants that walk. Ah! His voice drops to an incoherent mumbling. The innkeeper rushes up. Please leave this man alone. He was found in this state just before you arrived. He was lying near the sewer outfall. And I missed the rest. I'm sorry about that. That is the price of doing voiceover after the recording. This can be a bit wonky to line it up, but because we transferred our characters, they are relatively close to level, so we have to do something about that. But before we do anything else, we need to get some equipment, and I'm going to be speeding this process up because it's just plain boring to watch. Just some basic stuff for the different characters. I know my ranger can effectively wear plate mail, but I do not want him to wear plate mail. This feels wrong for a ranger to be in plate. There's no denying that Aragon looked spiffy in plate mail. But, yeah, as an old role player, I have my idea of what is right and what is not. And, yeah, my paladin is the knight in shiny armor, my ranger is the Robin Hood, like, Aragon type, whatever. Even though Aragon is essentially more a paladin than a ranger. But let us not discuss other characters, but the characters we have available in this game, because those are the ones that are relevant. It's actually a shame because there's such a wide variety of items available, and there's preciously few of them that you actually want. Long swords are good, reliable blades used by any melee character. You need a blunt weapon from clerics because they don't want to draw blood. It's perfectly okay to crush someone's head, but drawing blood, no, we can't have that. And then of course you want some darts for your mages so they can splatter defenseless beings. May you always strike true. You move away. Oops. Nearly bent my nail, hitting my computer. Ow. Painful. I am looking for something and I cannot find it. Say it's Villani. Not yet. The Hall of Training. Yeah. We want to train. Because of the amount of experience we gain from Pool of Radiance, and because of the rules of Dungeons and Dragons, the earlier editions, you cannot gain more than one level at a time. So if you have enough experience to gain more than one level, you will be put at one experience point short of the second level. So if you need 20,000 experience and for 2 levels and you've earned 1 billion experience, that's sad. That experience is gone. So I'm just going to go for the old reliable Ice Storm. Getting some damage spells is always a good idea. So Cleric and the 2 mages are eligible for 2 level ups, assuming they gain any amount of experience. So they go from level 6 to level 8 relatively quickly. But you have to gain a set experience, and we will get that shortly. Don't worry, I'm going to be editing out all the saving and things like that. So I just want to show sometimes initial steps of, yeah, that's what I realized. Transferring the characters, for some reason, it made all the icons completely gray. So I have to spend some time recoloring them, which has been sped up as well. So shouldn't be too much of a hassle. I'm very, very creative with my sleeve. Completely black. Yeah. I do wish that this game had some spiffy icons like in the Dragonlance series, but it doesn't. And as far as I know, that was never added to any games in this saga. I was about to say trilogy, but it's 64 chapters, so it must be a saga. So, my cleric. It's probably a bit overkill, but I do like. I mean, you're going to look at these characters for a while, especially if you transfer them between the different games. And the most important thing, of course, is to be able to quickly recognize the different characters. But it doesn't harm if they look somewhat presentable. Whatever the case, it looks an awful lot better than grey on grey. Mm. I'm trying to go with a specific color theme, but I don't want the characters to look too bland either, so I'm trying to be a bit creative. This is my male mage, or magic user if you want. That's more of a priest. So I was, because of course it's the same hairstyle my ranger is using. So I wanted to go for something different, but then it felt like it looked off for a mage. So I will be changing the head back to the other, not full hair, male bearded head. I'm just experimenting with some colors, and because in some of the Dungeon and Dragon games, the icons or sprites or whatever have borders. Uh, Even if you come up with a decent looking um, icon, it can look horrible because of the border being added to it. So I know the game says he's 26 years old, but Malaga is a mage name I've been using for absolutely years, and I think it was somewhat inspired by I'm not entirely sure actually. I'm trying to remember, but it's been so many years since I started using that name, so yeah. Storm. I'm fairly sure it is the name of this famous Dungeons and Dragons character. Um, Probably what was the inspiration for my female mage's name. So just setting her up with the name Storm. You would expect some sort of blue-ish to be involved with the character, but I'm happy with the colors I decided on. Altering the speed. I don't necessarily want it at the fastest because I don't want to. I do want to be able to pick up on exciting moments, but yeah, two will do. Next up, what's your pleasure? We'll have a drink because we are adventurous. We'll have whiskey. I was sure I picked lemonade. Care for tip? Nah. A special customer's arrived. You have to slip outside for a moment. Do you go? Yes, I suppose. As you begin to walk out the door, you see a young woman with a purple sash slip in the side door. A few of the other patrons hang back as if to meet her. As you consider your next move, you hear a commotion around the side of the building. You go to investigate. Of course, we go to investigate. There's nothing here now except for an ornate knife unrecorded in journal entry 17, and that's just a picture of a knife. So, sorry, but this is the side door. Enter through the front door. You move away. It's much more fun going through the side door. You note the bartender has a black eye and his arm in a sling. Ask about injuries. He looks at your blue sigils and blanches, then stammers. Just tripped over the bar while cleaning the place. These things happen, he gives a forced laugh. What's your pleasure? Punch the barkeep. That's how you get into a brawl. Well, these are fights you can trigger. It doesn't have any negative impact on your reputation, even though I suppose starting a bar brawl should not be. It's not a very heroic thing to do, you could argue, but it is an option you have available in case you transfer characters from Pool of Radiance, because you will be, for certain characters, you will be very, very close to level, and based on the rule I mentioned earlier about not being able to get more than one level at a time, my casters are going to be just short of the next level up and doing this fight, while it is not very generous on the experience side, is more than enough to make them qualify for the next level up. And that's why you want to do this. It's a bit, I suppose, a bit, it's a bar brawl, but we're going in with long swords and two-handed swords, and yeah. I like my ranger using a two-handed sword, which, spoiler, spoiler, turns out to be a waste of time. Oh, was a backstab. 58 experience points. Does it have anything of value? Of course they don't. Just normal rubbish. The survivors are tossed outside. How rude. But now we can go back into the hall of training. And we wish to train. And we wish to save scum. Probably unnecessary, but up until level 10, I don't save scum for maximum hit points, but I do admit I do save scum for more than 3 hit points per level up. Thank you very much. These games like to roll solo for your hit points when you level up. So, yeah, call that cheating. It's perfectly fine. Not much fun playing a game if your characters can't survive the fights. As you're passing through the crowds, you hear, I swear I heard a woman. Blah blah, serious stuff. As you're passing through the crowds, you hear, the woman in the green robes, eyes of a fanatic. That's difficult to say. Let's go and rest, and we will rest and memorize and take the new spells we get. They added a fix option in Curse of the Azure Bonds, which is such a nice thing to have. Sorry, I'm just moving about a bit, so if the microphone is picking up some sounds, it's just my chair creaking. Pool of Radiance did not have the fix option, which means that you had to manually heal, rememorize spells, rest, heal, rememorize spells, rest, heal. And in one case, one of my fighters had lost about 50 hit points, and I think I ended up casting 40 Cure Light Wounds to get those 50 hit points back, and I'm not kidding you. It was just 1 hit point, 1 hit point, 1 hit point, 2 hit points, 1 hit point. Fix is basically automating that process. It's casting all healing spells memorized, then it memorizes all possible healing spells available, then recast them, and then rememorizes. And once your characters are at full health, it will rememorize your original spells. So you'll probably notice when you hit the fix button that time will progress quite a bit from time to time. But it is such a nice thing not to have to manually heal your characters because it gets a bit old. I could have sped up this process, but my character spells are not going to change a lot over the course of the game, so I just want to show that initial first setup. I hope you can find that acceptable. I'm mainly going for damage. I do have the occasional utility spell, but yeah. Magic missiles, stinking clouds, fireballs, you can't go wrong with those. I know haste is a very, very strong spell, but it also ages all your characters by 1 year per use, and since I intend to transfer these characters all the way through to Pools of Darkness, I do not see any reason to abuse haste. I probably make some fights significantly more difficult than I should by not using haste, but there's an option further down the line, but that's... I don't want to negatively affect my characters at the earlier stages, knowing that I can do something about it much later because it just feels wrong. I mean, you will probably find that I use haste in 1 fight per chapter, usually the final fight. That is where I will accept the fact that my characters age by 1 full year for a 3-4 minute buff. Strong one, admittingly, but yeah. Onwards. If you're not aware, by the way, haste doubles your character's movement and attack. So double the movement capacity and double the amount of attacks per combat round. So, Temple of Gond. An acolyte greets you. If you want healing, pray at the altar. The high priest's residence is in the south. He bows and walks away. As you wander the temple, people begin to stream in. A priest stands before the altar and begins the service. You turn to listen. The thrust of the sermon is on everything's place in the world, especially Tilverton and the Cormier Defense Force. Near you, someone comments, Defense, ha! Should be Occupation Force. The service winds down and people file out. Sorry, should have changed my tone slightly there. Uh, just for some flavor text here. I am the high priest. You look troubled, my children. You wish to tell me your story. Of course. He listens sympathetically and casts a remove curse spell, and you record it as journal. As the cleric casts the spell, the bonds begin to glow brightly. Arcs of blue flame shoot out from them and strike about the room. The characters begin to writhe in extreme pain. The cleric seizes the spell. These bonds fight my powers. Removing them is beyond me. I wish you better luck. Go with God. You move away. I'm not going to be fourth wall breaking and say journal entry blah blah blah. I'm just going to let it slide into the journal entries themselves. I'm the sage Trelawney. You are here about the sigils, correct? Yeah. This is an interesting case. I'll do it for half your funds. How much do you have? We could lie, but we got a pal in the party, so we're going to tell the truth. She talks. You bear the symbol of 5 different organizations. 3 I recognize, 1 I've never seen, and the last causes me some concern. The flame and dagger is the symbol of the Fire Knives, a group of assassins who last operated out of Westgate. That group has been destroyed, so they must have a new base of operation. I fear I do not know where. The mouth in the palm is the symbol of the god Moanda. This god was banished from the world, but he reappeared briefly as a pile of filth. It laid waste to a section of the city of Ulash before its defeat. The cult's color of choice is green. The ornate C in the triangle is the symbol of the Centrum, the Black Network. These are an evil alliance of priests, mages, and thieves operating out of Central Keep. Some say that they run Central Keep. The flaming symbol I have never seen, so I can give you no information. The last symbol with the crescent moon bears a disturbing similarity to a powerful sage in Shadowdale. For my own safety, I will say no more about it. You move away. So, now there's something we have to trigger in order to move the story forward. So we shall go and trigger that. As you're passing through the crowds, you hear the town was safer before the troops came. Now strange folks are about. As you're passing through the crowds, you hear someone said Guy has been seen just outside of town. You encounter a group of royal guards. They tell you that this way is closed because the royal carriage is coming soon, and they send you back. You move away. Then we have to go back in again. You encounter a group of royal guards. They say, "Make way for the royal carriage." You hear the king's voice coming from the carriage. Suddenly, the sigils on your arm glow brightly. You find yourself unable to resist a compulsion to attack the royal carriage. As the carriage retreats, a young man leans out and croaks, "Don't kill me, I'm not really the king." Then, as he spots your blue markings, he faints back, crying, "Oh no, not again." The glow begins to fade. A loud bell starts ringing behind you. The guards rush towards you, with swords drawn. So we are going to fight the royal guards. Yeah. This is what the bonds will do to your characters. They will force you to do things you don't really want to do for various reasons from the various factions. They have their own agendas, and it will become clear what they intend to do with your characters, why they have made your characters bonded. Of course, the issue is that all 5 owners of the 5 bonds have 5 different objectives, and they are not necessarily um, aligning. That's not spoilerish because it becomes very apparent very early on. So I don't want to fight the royal guards. Just one more to go. They will, if you don't surrender now in this fight, the option even, you see beyond the charging guards, 2 red-robed men jump the carriage. They pull out a thin man and drag him into an alleyway. One calls out, "Do you surrender?" And as I was about to say before, if you don't surrender, there's infinite guards. There's no reason to fight them constantly. You're thrown in jail. After a few hours, one wall slides open and a thief appears. He hands you your equipment and signals you to follow him. The man leads you through hidden passages, emerging in a dark underground area, the Thieves' Guild. Before you stands a burly man surrounded by several alert bodyguards. He seems somewhat nervous. "You look a little rocky. Care to rest?" "Yes, we do, and this is where I'll have to end part 1. So, thanks for watching, take care, and see you later. Bye bye.